Hey everybody, it's AlTonya and welcome to another edition of AlTonya's Library. Thank you for joining me. Today I am coming to you in video to share chapter 1 reading of Zepha's Place. My previous readings have been like little snippets, audio, and so today I thought I'd give you a larger peek and do it by video. Zepha's Place is currently available on the NetGalley platform at no charge. There's no charge to readers to set up an account and start reading. And Zepha's Place is my first women's fiction title, so I want to know your thoughts. If you choose to buy the book, great. It is out for pre-order right now. It will be released February 2026. And then the print will be, I'm trying to do the print in January, so stay tuned for that. But right now it's available on the NetGalley platform at no charge. And with this being my first women's fiction title, so you can't have a book without romance, but you'll find that there's far less of that than you're used to from me in this book. But I did not skimp on the drama or the suspense. So I do hope that you'll give it a read and let me know what you think. So, thank you for listening. And right now, I am going to give you a chapter 1 reading of Zepha's Place. Routine, Colorado, summer 1934. Zep, Tay, shh. Delia Joyce moved cautiously down the hall toward the flicker of light from the oil lamp. The wood floorboards were covered every few feet or so with woven rugs and creaked beneath her steps. "What is that? That knocking?" she asked. "About to find out." Zepha Dodge pulled back the hammer on the Winchester rifle she carried. "Is it the Klan?" "Girl, hush, they don't knock." A rainy afternoon had become a rainy night. Midnight brought a howling wind and what sounded like a torrential downpour against the slanting, multi-leveled roof of the old but stately 3-story home. Another knock, and then 4 rapid knocks landed against the door. "Maybe it's a twister throwing things around on the porch." Terror fueled Tavia Welton's whisper. Help me, please. Someone's out there." Faint chords of urgency flowed from Zepha's voice. "Zep." Chords of warning flowed from Delia's voice. "Don't," she advised her oldest friend. Zepha had already pushed from her crouched position near the door. "Can't leave him out there." She rested the rifle on the other side of the maplewood hall tree. "Anybody out on a night like this ain't up to nothing good." "Amen," Tavia agreed with Delia's summation. "Please, Jesus." Zepha frowned. "Sounds like a lady." She waved Tavia and Delia out of the way and unbolted the door. Before Zepha could peek out into the night, someone fell across the threshold. It was, in fact, a lady. She was shivering, soaked through from the rain, and she was white. Delia Joyce was known for several things. Her knowledge of landscaping and her distrust of white people were among the two that were best known. She was also known for being outspoken and opinionated. In 1930s Colorado, such things didn't pair too well with a distrust of whites. Delia Joyce's feelings, however, were accepted inside the home of her oldest friend, Zepha Dodge. Accepted, but not always desired. "Y'all know she's crazy." "You heard she's crazy," Zepha corrected Delia's declaration. What's to stop her from telling her just as crazy husband, "We did all manner of things to her in here," Delia continued as though Zepha hadn't spoken up in defense of their newest house guest, Billy Eskridge. D. Zepha's tone reflected the same exasperation as her expression. "She came to us in the middle of the night, remember?" "So? That fool Mumford Eskridge could say we went out and dragged her butt over here." Zepha looked ready to deliver a response when she hesitated, as if she were considering Delia's words. Instead, she began to laugh. Tavia Welton, the third woman in the room, joined in soon after. Delia, despite her outrage, couldn't help but to follow suit behind her friends. The whistle of the kettle a few moments later cut into the medley of amusement. Zepha, head shaking over her outrageous friend, went to see to it. While she worked at the big wood stove across the kitchen, the sobering mood returned. The mood had plagued the three women for the 40 minutes that had lapsed since the arrival of their guest. They had secured Billy Eskridge in an upstairs room. The downpour was showing no signs of letting up. Billy Eskridge hadn't arrived by car as far as they could tell. Turning the girl away in the night could land them in more trouble than if they left her to fend for herself amid the elements. There was, however, another reason Zepha wouldn't consider ignoring the white woman's dire situation. What kind of Christian would I be if I made her leave all beat up like she is? A smart one. D, Tavia cried out at the unapologetic retort. She stood then, relinquishing her seat next to Delia at the big table where they had all gathered. Girl, the Lord got a bolt of lightning specially for you, and I don't want to be nowhere near when it lands, Tavia said. Delia only rolled her eyes and shrugged one of the lush, dark shoulders that was visible where her robe had slipped. I'm only saying what's obvious. She sighed the words in a dramatic fashion. The woman clearly don't mind that fool wailing on her. Why should we stick our necks out for someone who don't seem interested in saving her own? Zepha returned to the table, carrying a wide wooden tray that supported a hot iron kettle propped on a few kitchen towels. There was a saucer holding several small oblong cloth sacks that were tied at the ends and filled with tea leaves. A sugar dish and a small glass of lemon juice were set on the tray as well. Zepha settled down near Tavia and mimicked the cool look Delia sent her with raised eyebrows. I don't want none of that lightning bolt meant for you either, she said. Then you tell me why she don't just leave him, Delia demanded. Maybe she love him, Tavia said. She ain't got no reason to stay in that, Delia said, following several long seconds of sitting with her lips pursed in condemnation of Tavia's rebuttal. A white woman don't have to... Just 'cause she a white woman don't mean she got any more freedom than the rest of us. The rain seemed to intensify then, battering the roof and sides of the house. It was as if the weather was somehow agreeing with Zepha's point of view. The hard blast of rain also ushered in a wave of silence as the women busied themselves preparing their own cups of hot tea. Contentment seemed to underscore the silence as they each sipped and savored the steaming, delightful liquid that ignited the taste buds while warming the body as it coursed the veins. Not that anyone was chilly in the spacious kitchen. The area's high ceiling had the potential to make it one of the draftier places in the house. This was true especially during the summer months or during a torrentially rainy day. Sadly, there had been too few of those lately. Drafts, however, didn't stand a chance once the wood stove was put to use. It was more than just a household appliance responsible for the edible artistry Zepha Dodge was known for. The heat generated by the grand cast iron stove was enough to warm the entire lower level of the large house. Many of the second floor bedrooms closest to the main staircase also benefited. The heating capacity was a godsend during brutal winters. Thick area rugs covered broad stretches of the wood floors, making it a cozy, nearly decadent space. Potted plants thrived under Delia's green thumb, even during the most frigid times of year. As for the kitchen and attached dining room, the brick walls painted over white gave the space an inviting, rejuvenating feel that made for a singular eating experience. How bad y'all think she hurt? Tavia asked, once they'd enjoyed their tea and the sound of the fierce rain for another 10 minutes. Blood coming from her nose and mouth looked bad enough, Xavier noted. She'll probably have at least one black eye to go with them by the morning, she added. Zepha and Tavia had tried to make Billy Eskridge as comfortable as possible. Difficult, given the array of injuries the woman seemed to have suffered, particularly to her hands, knees, and feet. A great deal of crawling across rough terrain had occurred that night. Maybe we need to call the doctor. How do y'all think, or do y'all think Bettina could look at her in the morning? Tavia's query had Delia snorting laughter into her teacup. Hush, Zepha ordered the woman. I'm sure Bettina can handle it, Tay. Bettina Crump wasn't a doctor, but she was a dedicated student of the profession. It was all in preparation for when she might one day attend medical school. The young woman had idolized Justina Ford, the country's first black female physician, since she was a child. If we call Doc Irvin, he's likely to be concerned, her being white and all, Zepha put in. And you both fooler than I suspect if you call one of them doctors from town to see her, Delia snapped. May as well call up Mum Eskridge and have him come on out too. Zepha and Tavia continued to sip their tea quietly. Eventually, Delia huffed and slapped her hands to the table. She made a pretense of smoothing non-existent wrinkles from the white cloth atop the table until she'd exhausted her patience. Well, ladies, she braced against the surface and pushed herself to stand. I wouldn't mind staying down here the rest of the night talking about this mess we're in, but bed is calling and there's yard work that needs doing early. Oh, Dee, you should let that wait, Zepha urged. Let it wait? Delia looked at Zepha as if the woman had sprouted another head. Ain't no sense rushing out in all that mud after tonight. So, Miss Zepha, does that mean you and Miss Tay will be sleeping late in the morning like two fine ladies of the manor? Excuse me, does that mean you, Zepha, will be sleeping late? Delia rephrased her snarky question just as Tavia was opening her mouth to respond. It was well known that little woke Tavia Welton before 11 a.m. Zepha, on the other hand, was likely to start her daily chores instead of heading back to bed. Well, I'm heading up, Delia decided when her friends continued to give her the silent treatment. Chances are powerful strong I'll have to hide Yuli's, Corvus's, and Shale's behinds if that broke-down truck ain't moved out the front yard by midday. Delia referred to Zepha's resident mechanic, Ulysses Green, and his unofficial assistants, Corvus Dulane and Shale Tepford. Oh, Dee, that old truck ain't hurting nobody, Zepha said while adding more steaming water to her teacup. It's hurting the begonias I'm trying to plant on that side of the drive, Delia argued. They don't need much sun, but they ain't getting any sun because of that dang truck. Well, my word, that does sound like a horror, Zepha smiled when Tavia giggled at her tease. Delia merely set her mouth and regarded the woman stonily. A good night to you both, she delivered on a terse chord and left the kitchen. Zepha and Tavia enjoyed their tea in happy silence for another 2 minutes, and then Tavia spoke. Dee could be right, you know. Having Miss Billy here could be bad for us if her husband find out. Cross that bridge when we come to it. Zepha took a long swallow of her tea. Maybe we can call Sheriff Rich. Zepha made a face as though Tavia's idea put a bad taste in her mouth. Calling him out here for this will put him in a bad spot with the town. Somebody bound to start asking where she is. I'd hate for him to have to lie on my account. Maybe nobody prone to ask about her if they ain't got reason to. Tay, only way folks know what happened is if Sheriff Rich take her back and they see. Who say he got to? Zepha set down her teacup and favored Tavia with high skepticism. Tavia took that as her cue to continue. Who say Miss Billy got to go back to that fool husband of hers? Her fool husband might have something to say about it. We can tell Sheriff Rich what happened. Tavia scooted around on her chair to face Zepha more directly. One look at Miss Billy's face and he'll know we telling the truth. Tay, what makes you think folks in town don't already know that truth? But they don't know she left him, Z. Not yet. What you think Mum Eskridge gonna do if that get around town? She might not make it out alive next time, Z. Zepha thought for a moment, made another face, and then left the table. Where you going? Tavia jumped to her feet. Going to call the sheriff. Where else? Beaming, Tavia left the table to follow Zepha from the kitchen. The women made the short trip to the sitting room. Tavia pushed for the lights, but adjusted the dimmer to keep the illumination low. Despite the uncommon luxury of lights, Zepha didn't necessarily need them to locate the phone, another uncommon luxury. It was the only one in the house. Its obscenely long cord made it easy to take a call anywhere in the large front room or even the kitchen. Zepha lifted the old bake light out of its nook and carried it with her to one of the worn leather wingbacks near the fireplace. With the rotary set on her lap, she put the receiver to her ear and waited for the operator's nasal tone to pour through the crackling line. While she waited, Zepha prayed the operator would send the call through without upset. There was a tendency for delay once it was understood what side of the town the call hailed from. Her prayers were answered, and the call was manually connected seconds following the operator's greeting. Rudine Sheriff's Department, Claudette. Hey, Miss Wiggins, this is Zepha. Zepha Dodge? Zepha nearly sighed the words, Claudette Wiggins was known to be the most cordial of the department's secretarial staff. Well, hey there. Claudette's greeting carried surprise and welcome. I tried that trick you told me about keeping the oatmeal cookies moist, and it worked. My Ben can't get enough of them. Most every night he come in from his shift at the fire station, he asking for some. Zepha smiled from her end of the line and nodded. I'm glad to hear it. Miss Wiggins, I'm calling for the sheriff. He in tonight by any chance? Zepha, hon, he's out on a call, I'm afraid. Some of Claudette's easiness seemed to dim. All the guys are out, actually. Oh? Something in the woman's tone tugged on Zepha's concern. It's a nasty night to be out. I hope everything's all right. Ain't much hope for that. Leastways, not for the victim. Victim? Zepha looked at Tavia while speaking the word through the receiver. Tavia moved from the sitting room doorway to take the matching wingback next to Zepha's. Oh, Claudette sighed over the line. Sheriff will let me have it for speaking on this. She debated all of half a minute. I suppose you'll find out sooner or later, it being one of your people and all. My people. Zepha appreciated the chair beneath her, considering the sinking feeling forming at the pit of her stomach. Across from Zepha, Tavia had both hands covering her mouth. I'm so sorry, Zepha. The sheriff and the boys, they got a call about a hanging. They found Shell Tepford. He's dead. So that is chapter 1. Zepha's Place is available now on the NetGalley platform. Please drop by and get your copy, or just drop by and let me know what you think of the cover. It's that simple. Let me see what else I need to tell you guys before I let you go. Yeah, so if you're already here on the site. Go over to the genre fiction page and you can get a little more information about the book. Even take a look at my images of what I think the characters look like. So I'm kind of liking this video thing. I don't know if I'll do it again, but we'll see. And until next time, keep reading.